Okay, we're going to do an observation using the owl image, and we're going to use oil pastel because it allows you to blend and get a nice feather texture. When I'm using oil pastel, because I can't mix my colours, what I tend to do is select the colours that I know I'm going to need. So I look really carefully at my picture and I try and get every colour that I can see. It just helps you to have them close by. So I'm happy I've got my colours. I'm going to work on white paper today, and I'm not going to do a pencil outline first. However, you could do if you wanted to. I am going to use just a light oil pastel of the grey just to get a rough shape first of all. So I'm going to start here, do the circles of the eyes. So it just gives me a little bit of structure to work on very loosely. So if you go wrong at this section, it doesn't matter because you can play around with the shape. Now, I'm quite happy with that, so I'm now going to start to add some colour in. I'm actually going to add the white on first, and you probably won't see this. But the reason why I'm adding this is it's very easy to lose white sections, and you can't go over dark oil pastel with a white. It just won't let you cover. So if I put in areas along here which I know are going to be very, very pale, then it will just help me later on with my textures. So that's that. I've got that section in like that. Okay. I'm going to start on this eye here, on the actual eye itself. So I've got some yellows, oranges going into reds. So I'm going to start with my lightest colour first and just start to work this in. Blending oil pastels is done by overlapping and working one colour over the top of the other. Allows you to get a blend. So it might look a little bit blocky at first, but when we start to overlap, hopefully you can see the blend. And put the black of the pupil in. If you can, try and get neat edges. It's really tricky with oil pastels to control it to a fine edge, but you've got to kind of try. Also with the pupil, it must be a very rounded, neat shape. It can't look messy, otherwise it spoils that realistic effect. The owl also has a black kind of eyeliner around it, so we're just going to get some of that in.
James, I won't be happy.
Sorry. Right, I'm asking. Oh, look at this. Oh.
Okay, so I'm just adding some of that texture now around the eye. And there's a little bit of grey, so we'll start to add these in. Now, because we want a feather texture, how you add the pastel is really important because it will allow us to get that effect. So you can see I'm adding this on in lots of small little dots and dashes, and we call this textural mark making. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of the nose in here, or the beak. Okay, along this section here, we've got these feathers which kind of fan out into a V. So we're not going to be able to get that exactly how we want it. We're just really aiming to get a textural effect. So what I'm going to do is put in little kind of triangles of tone and build these up. And then if I use my white over the top, it allows me to kind of blend them and smudge them together. And what it does is it creates a feathered effect. And the more you build these up, the better the effect will be. Okay. Put some down here as well. And then you can kind of break them up and be quite random with it as well, once you get a little bit more confident with what you're doing. So it looks a bit messy at first, but hopefully creates this lovely feathery texture. Now really, the rest, we're using all the same techniques. So you could carry on working across the face of the owl, but I'm just going to be using all the same techniques as I have here. So I'm going to leave you to have a go at that yourself and carry on building up the face.